Hey, what's happening, guys? You've tuned into Rules for Rebels. Good morning. I figured you guys could join me for my morning Dunkin' while I share some big news with you guys. President Trump tweeted out this morning that he and Melania Trump have coronavirus. This is huge fucking news. Markets and the economy as a whole hate uncertainty. That's why going into a presidential election, and even at the start of Corona, that's why the stock market got rocked so hard, because markets hate uncertainty, and a sitting president having coronavirus. And you guys know I'm not a coronavirus fearmonger. I'm not one of these people who think it's an automatic death sentence. But let's be honest, Trump is 74 years old. He falls into a high-risk category because of that. He's overweight, and he just doesn't seem like the healthiest individual. There's 74-year... Is he 74? Yeah, there's 74-year-olds out there who run triathlons and run marathons. Trump is not one of them. So this is kind of, throws some turbulency, if that's a word, into the world. And what complicates this even more, and why it's an even bigger deal, so if Trump were to become incapacitated or die, obviously Mike Pence, the vice president, becomes the next in power. Mike Pence so far has tested negative, but if Mike Pence were to become incapacitated or die, obviously he's younger and healthier than Trump, but if he were to become incapacitated and or die, Nancy Pelosi becomes the leader, the next in power. God help us all if that happens. I think this brings up an interesting issue, which is, why are all the people leading this country fragile, elderly people who are on their deathbeds? Maybe we need some younger leaders. I know a lot of people loved Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but let's be honest, the last probably several years, if not 5 years, if not decade of her life, she probably wasn't fit to be a Supreme Court justice. It kind of brings up the question, why do we have all these fragile old people leading the country? And I think this becomes an even bigger issue with coronavirus, which obviously attacks fragile older people. So yeah, this is kind of crazy news. Where it gets even more complicated is we're in the middle of an election cycle and voting has already started. So let's say, hypothetically, Trump passes away from coronavirus. What happens? Does the Republican Party find another candidate? Does Mike Pence become the new candidate? Votes have already been cast for Trump. Are those votes invalidated? There's really no presidency. There's no Supreme Court ruling that dictates kind of what happens here. So initially you might think, well, it's a good thing we're about to transition to a new election cycle, but in a lot of ways that makes it even more messy. Because of how ugly the country is right now, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people like, oh, I hope Trump dies. There's a lot of politicians I hate. I don't necessarily hope anybody dies. So, hopefully people kind of don't get too ugly here with this. I'm sure, I've already seen on some of the talking heads on TV, and I'm sure some people will say, almost like it's a gotcha moment, Trump didn't like masks, he didn't social distance, and now he's got coronavirus. It's not really like a shock. Like, a lot of people out there, myself included, are kind of like, coronavirus it's something serious, but like, it's not the zombie apocalypse. It's not a death sentence. We're not all going to die from it. And I'm going to kind of go about my life. And if I wind up getting it, I'll deal with it. And it's almost like, I was thinking about this morning. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a documentary, Free Solo, with Alex Honnold. If not, check it out. It's a really interesting documentary. He's a free solo climber. He climbs the most dangerous mountains in the world without any safety equipment, without any ropes, without any harness. And a lot of people say, oh, you're being crazy. What if you die? And if Alex Honnold were to fall off a mountain and die, I'm sure you'd have people like, oh, he should have wore a safety harness. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. And Alex Honnold has given interviews, and he says, like, look, I realize what I'm doing is, to other people, seems dangerous. Like, I feel confident in my capabilities. I'm really focused. The fact that I'm not wearing any safety equipment makes me focus even more. But, if I do die, so be it. I go out doing something I love. And he kind of knows that that's a risk. I go to the gym every day. If I wind up getting coronavirus from going to the gym every day, I wouldn't necessarily, I actually already had coronavirus back in February. But hypothetically, if I got coronavirus, I wouldn't be shocked that I go to the gym and got the coronavirus, but that's kind of a risk that I'm willing to take. And so when I think a lot of people try to play this on Trump as like a gotcha moment, it's like, you didn't wear a mask and now you got corona. It's like, well, yeah, that I was kind of rolling the dice, and I lost, so be it. But yeah, this is going to be a huge issue. It'll be interesting to kind of see how everything pans out. This was just announced in the early morning hours this morning, so not a whole lot of news, not a whole lot to say about it. Like I said, so far Mike Pence has tested to not have coronavirus. Really will be interesting to see how everything shakes out. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Let me know how you think the stock market is going to be affected by this. I saw people commenting back when Kennedy was assassinated, what was that, 68? The stock market took about 2 days to recover. So a president passing away during his term isn't necessarily going to sink us into a recession or a depression. But again, we're not living in the same world as we were in 1968. We got the internet, we got a 24-hour news cycle. We're already kind of living in crazy times. So yeah, that's all I really got for you guys this morning. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this story. Let me know how you guys think things are going to shake out. Let me know how you think the stock market's going to be affected. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button below, and I'll catch you on the next video.